Hi, everybody. It is October 31st. Welcome back to Ox Talks here with Jeremiah Babe. We decided today, instead of taking a road trip down to the coast, we were going to come to the range and do some training. We've been here for about an hour and a half, did some pistol work, and we're now going to jump on the rifle bay and do some of that. But look, there's a lot going on in the world. We discussed this on both of our shows. You know, this it's about being financially prepared for what's coming, but also prepared to defend yourself and your family and have some skills. This is imperative. We talk about fitness, being fit, being able to move. Having skills with your tool is important. But look, we're up here, we're moving around in loose sand, we have heavy gear on. This is the kind of thing that I believe is extremely important, to put yourself in scenarios that are uncomfortable, you know, get dirty, get yourself out of your comfort zone. And this is just one thing that we're trying to do to better ourselves and make ourselves more resilient and more prepared. Do you have any thoughts on that, David?
Yeah, you want to train for real life, right? And we like to work around vehicles, from inside to outside of vehicles. Angles are very important, and just being out in the real world is much different than just, you know, maybe being at a range with the air conditioning on, shooting something, you know, 5 to 10 yards away. So this is a little bit more real. It's a great workout. You have to get out here to really understand like how your equipment's running. Is it running? Does it work? Does it feel good? Do your boots feel comfortable? Maybe you're running a backpack, a hydration kit, a plate carrier. How's it fit? Is it uncomfortable? These are all things you're never going to know unless you're out here running this stuff. And people believe like, well, they have it, they'll just use it when the time comes. You need to test right now, and also you have to test yourself. Like, you know, how are you under pressure? How are you when you're sweaty, or when your adrenaline's pumping and your heart rate's up because we're running drills under time, or we're running, you know, 10, 15 yards from target to target. Heart rate's up, you're breathing, everything changes. All the dynamics now change because your body now is breathing much heavier, your heart's pumping a lot more blood, and so now you're a little bit shaky. So these are things that you have to learn how to adapt to under pressure. This is, you know, this isn't like being, you know, in a major firefight or anything, but this is, you know, putting a little bit of pressure on yourself right now, more than you would in an air-conditioned range. So I think this stuff is really, really important if you have the ability to get to a place like this. We're blessed to, you know, have 10 acres out here to do this.
Look, you can have all the nice gear in the world. If you don't know how to use it, if you don't know how to get it on quickly, if you don't know how to implement it, it's going to do you no good.
Or if it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, for example, this morning I was telling you the story. I have run EOTech on the rifles, and this morning I just happened to check the EOTech battery, and it was dead. So I quickly threw in a new CR123 battery, got it back up and running. But had I left the house, you know, with the bag as it was, I would up here without any operable optic. What happens if that's a real emergency?
Now you would go back to irons, so he does have backup, but you know, our primary optic would be, you know, red dot.
And the point is, be checking your gear. Go through your gear on a regular basis. Check your batteries.
That's why we're here.
Yep. That's
to like make sure everything is running, including your defensive tools. And, you know, and your skill set, this is a perishable skill. So you have to be out here. I mean, minimal once a month, ladies and gentlemen, once a month you need to be out here. Preferably, I think once every 2 weeks. If you can do it once a week, even better. But, you know, you got to be out here.
I want to share an article with you I saw, and this kind of feeds into this being able to protect yourself and your family. This is from the Daily Mail. It says, Venezuela's worst gangsters have crossed into the U.S. illegally and are unleashing chaos in Dallas, Chicago, and Miami, with fearful residents saying that they've had tires slashed, windows shot out, and retribution for reporting them to cops. Listen to these statistics, JB. It says at least 335,000 Venezuelan citizens have crossed into the U.S. in this fiscal year 2023, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection statistics. Some are ex-security forces, they are professional criminals or part of criminal organizations, some of them. It says in the month of September alone, 72,000 Venezuelans were encountered at U.S. international crossings. making citizens from the South American country the largest nationality arrested for illegally entering the U.S. And look, I won't go on with the article, but they are literally terrorizing these cities and these local communities, and people are afraid to report them. Now, do these people have the wherewithal to defend themselves, to defend their house, and defend their families if these guys come knocking on their front door? It's not about just having your tool with you when you're in public. You have to think about how accessible your tool is with you when you're in your own home. Can you protect your own castle? But I thought that was shocking. What do you think about that?
Well, first off, the data that you're speaking of right now, the 330,000, the 72,000 a month, I think you could probably double or triple that.
Yeah, that's what's being reported.
Right. So double or triple that. And somewhere between that double and tripling of that data is the real number. I saw some of the video of this news article on, I believe it was Twitter X, and they were beating somebody in a parking lot of the apartment complex that they live in. I think that people have no idea what is about to happen here financially or socially. That's what I think. And I think that most people are completely unprepared financially and socially for what's about to happen. And so you can sweep this under the rug, but at some point, this stuff's going to be knocking at your front door or kicking your front door down, and you're going to have to deal with it. And as we always say, you're going to resort back to your training. And most people are going to resort back to nothing because they have absolutely no training, no defensive training with their hands, no defensive training with their tools. And they're not defensive financially. They're continuing to just spend. So the whole thing is a giant ticking time bomb.
We're talking about being well-rounded. From our perspective, this is part of it. You have to have this and implement a strategy to use these tools, to become proficient. It's not like riding a bike. You lose the skill. It is a perishable skill. And so please keep that take into consideration. You want to make sure you have financial well-being, but you also need the security aspect as well. And be thinking about how crime is increasing in this country with what we just talked about. It is getting really bad. I think that's super important to keep in mind.
One thing I would like to know, now this isn't just about people coming over here that shouldn't be here. There's a lot of people we already have. See, here's the problem. We already have a crime epidemic, a crime crisis taking place with our own criminals. Now we have people from all over the world coming here, magnifying the problem that we already have, but it's going to be so much worse now because you're dealing with some people that are here who are highly, highly trained from very, very violent places on planet Earth, and many of these people do not like you or I. So this is just going to exacerbate the problem that we already had.
And look, hope is not a strategy. The police are not going to be able to respond in time to address a real emergency. You have to be able to fend for yourself and protect yourself and your family. Hope is a bad strategy. The title of today's video, it talks about the slippery slope of hope. I want to discuss one more thing with you. The financial realm today talks about the Fed is set to let the market burn, because we discussed in the last my show yesterday about what's the Fed going to do? Is the Fed tomorrow? Is the Fed going to pause? Is the Fed going to raise? But more importantly, in the medium and long term, is the Fed going to stay the course and keep the pedal to the metal? Article says the Fed is set to let the market burn as tech stocks slide down the slope of hope. It says traders are likely looking for some reassurance from the Fed at this Wednesday's FOMC meeting. They're unlikely to get it, with inflation still too high and not showing much progress toward the Fed's 2% target. It says investors who overpaid for stocks and property thinking the rates would come down are going to be in real trouble. What do you think about that?
Well,
do you agree with that?
Well, every day now, somebody's coming out, multiple people are coming out saying that it's just a matter of time. Jerome Powell and the Fed are going to pause and reverse course very, very soon. Now, he has paused. I do believe he will pause tomorrow. I still think it's very likely that we get another rate hike this year, probably now December. But there's so much hopium going on with these economists, with these host of these financial channels, that the Fed is going to have to turn this around and start cutting rates. The Fed's main obligation, responsibility is fighting inflation. Now, I have really no respect for the Fed. I have no faith in the Fed. They got us pretty much into this mess. I don't think they're going to get us out of this mess. I do think they're going to hold higher for longer. I think that the hope is just what it is, hope. So many people are so highly invested in these markets, so heavily invested in real estate. They have got to continue this hope that the Fed's going to pause, pivot, and start cutting rates, and I don't see it happening. Jerome Powell said literally 100 times, higher for longer, and that they're going to continue to watch the data. Well,
And you will feel the pain.
Inflation continues to climb. They're not seeing this labor market. It's continuing to stay tight. And the average consumer is continuing to spend money. Money they don't have, I get it. It's mostly credit cards and it's debt. But the Fed's looking at the bottom line, that the consumer is still spending. And with that data, the Fed, to me, has no choice but to continue to raise and no doubt hold higher for longer. I think we're going to see mortgage rates break 10% in this country. And I think that I'm going to go against what 99% of everybody's saying. I think that instead of the Fed cutting rates next year, I believe that they're going to raise rates next year.
I agree. Okay, look, I'll leave it there. I'll try to keep it shorter. This is not fun. We're up here, we're rolling in the dirt. We're getting, we're sweaty, we're warm. You got to lug the gear out. It's challenging, but we're doing it. We're making the sacrifice. Keep it in mind. We're talking about just in closing the physical fitness routine. You have to keep your physical fitness high. You've got to do 15 minutes, half an hour a day minimum of some cardio exercise. Get your push-ups and sit-ups in. Drink your water. We got jugs of water here. We're staying hydrated. And head on a swivel, please, all of you. Appreciate Jeremiah being here. Jeremiah Babe, obviously you guys know his channel. Talk to you all soon. Bye.